Welcome back to this Money Control live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka.
And I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, Yatin, clearly a fresh all-time high is playing hide and seek
Yes.
with the Nifty, given the fact that we came very close to that 18,887 level, but then we did stage a U-turn, and the indices, of course, ended nearly at the day's low with the Nifty, in fact, ending below that 18,800 mark, and the Sensex also, shedding 200, 250 odd points or thereabouts. If you look at the sectoral movers, all of the sectors were in the red, led by PSU Banking Pack that lost 1.5% or thereabouts. IT was another big laggard, and even metals, by the end of the session, they gave up most of the gains and ended the day in the red. If you look at the mid and small cap indices, well, both of them were deep in the red, underperforming the benchmarks. In fact, Nifty mid cap index ended lower by 1% or thereabouts. Among the notable Nifty losers were the likes of Tata Steel. That stock was down somewhere around 2.5% or thereabouts. Bajaj Finance, Tata Consumer, Tata Motors. So most of these Tata Group companies under pressure. Nifty gainers, few gainers today, given the fact that the advanced decline ratio was in the ratio of 1:2. We saw the Nifty gainers, Divi's Lab, L&T, HDFC Twins managed to hold out, Airtel and ICICI Bank. So some of these private sector banks managed to do well in a weakish market. What about the movers in the mid and small cap space, Yatin?
So, if you look at the mid cap movers in trade, we had HCC which moved after a big block deal which happened around 2:33 p.m. And post that the shares of HCC surged by as much as 15% intraday. So, post that large block trade, we had HCC which moved in trade. Apart from HCC, obviously there were a lot of other block deals in trade, delivery being one, wherein we had Carlyle which sold nearly 1.8 crore shares. Ather, that is another stock which was moving 6% on the back of successfully raising funds from the QIP. KIMS, which is Krishna Institute of Medical Sciences, BSC, all of these stocks were buzzing in the mid cap trade. But on the flip side, India Cement as well as IDFC First Bank, both of these stocks witnessed some profit taking, 6% down for both of these stocks.
Well, that was all about the movers and shakers in the mid-cap end of the markets. But on that note, let's take a look at the stocks that are on our radar this afternoon. Starting with Lupin. Yatin, Lupin, we saw a good 5% up move coming in yesterday's session after it got USFDA approval for Spiriva, which is rather its blockbuster respiratory drug. But a lot of brokerages have come out with reports on the stock after this development, and most of them believe that the upside or the upside from this approval is already priced into the stock, which is why the stock saw a 3% downtick in today's session. Jefferies has maintained an underperform rating on the stock, and it has revised, in fact scaled down its target price on the stock by over 20%. Same goes for Kotak. It has reduced rating. It has set a target price of 8.15 or thereabouts, which implies a 4% downside on the stock. Now Kotak believes that weak execution track record, its slim medium term US pipeline aside of Spiriva and its subpar margin profile are some of the negatives that could weigh in on the stock. Management of course was on CNBC TV 18. They have indicated that they will be launching, or we will be ready with the drug by the second quarter of the current fiscal and launch it as well around that time only. And they have also given a margin run rate guidance of 18% by the end of this year. But Kotak is not convinced. It believes that the margin profile is still subpar, and that could be a risk for Lupin going forward. If you look at the stock, it has run up nearly 38% in the last 1 year, which is why probably brokerages believe that this approval was already being factored in, and the management was expecting it already in the month of August. It has come in a bit earlier, but it is still priced into the stock. And valuation wise, if you look at Lupin, it is much more expensive compared to the likes of Sun Pharma, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's. So that's one thing that has got the brokerages cautious as well. So all in all, Lupin has had a good run, but for now looks like the upside will be a little more capped for Lupin.
Yes, and probably that is the reason why we had the stock which was under pressure today. But what was gaining in a weak market today was the entire sugar pack, and today the only sector that I will discuss will be the sugar pack. Now, be it Uttam Sugar, Mavana Sugar, Orch Sugar, Dhampur Sugar, all of these stocks were up anywhere between 5 to 10%. We also had large sugar companies, like Dalmia Bharat Sugar, Balrampur Chini, surge in trade. And the reason why sugar stocks are doing well is the fact that raw sugar prices globally have surged to a 11-year high. More importantly, the El Nino conditions are not apt for sugar production. In fact, El Nino creates a flood-like situation in Brazil and a drought-like situation in India, which are the two large producing sugar producing countries globally. So bad weather conditions probably will impact sugar crop this year. Probably the prices have already anticipated the downtick in the production this year. Also, if you look at the global sugar market, the supplies are already becoming tight. India has an export quota which is already done, so we don't have more option to export globally. There is a chance that Brazil might face some flood-like conditions this time, which will again hamper overall production. Now, if you look at Maharashtra, which is one of the large sugar producing states in India, they have issued a warning or a alert to its farmers. They have said that the Kharif sowing should be held back because there is a delay in monsoons which is expected. So, on an overall basis, if you look at the weather conditions, the state central governments and the kind of stocking that we have, probably there are some few sweet days left for sugar even from the current levels.
Well, some sweet times ahead for the sugar stocks and sweet gains, of course, also in today's session. Well, the next stock on my list is JSW Energy. Power stocks have recently seen a broad-based rally, and that is, of course, indicative of the broad, the strength in the broader end of the markets, in the mid-cap space rather. Now, this stock, JSW Energy, has gained over 11% in the last 1 month, even though on a YTD basis, it hasn't really done all that well. But over the last 1 month, of course, it has, tried or attempted to make a comeback, and it has done that pretty well. Now, JSW Energy is a company that is making rapid strides in the energy storage space. Today, the stock was up 5% at one point of time, but of course, it came off from day's high, and settled lower in trade. But given the fact that we saw a double upgrade coming in from Antique Broking, this stock saw a good buying interest in the first half of the session. Antique Broking has kept a target of 316 rupees on the stock. Now, Antique believes that the company is on track to commission 10 gigawatts by FY25 and 20 gigawatts by FY30. Now, this will translate into yield of 7,500 crores to 8,000 crores to its EBITDA by FY25 end. And aside of that, the company will be commissioning 3 green energy projects by FY25, and it will also be setting up a 3,800 ton green hydrogen plant in Karnataka as well. In fact, aside of Antique, even ICICI Direct sees a fresh entry point into the stock. It believes that the negatives are already priced in, and a durable bottom has been formed around that 200 rupee mark for the stock. So, if you look at the stock valuations, price to earnings ratio is somewhere around 30 or thereabouts, which is lower than the sector PE. So, all in all, it looks like power pack days are ahead for this energy stock, which is JSW Energy.
Clearly, and the stock after this Antique report has been, gaining some traction. Open gap up,
yeah.
But I think probably with the markets, we saw some intraday losses coming in. But yesterday the stock was anyways up 7-8%. So yes, no regrets for the stock of JSW Energy.
Well, with that, I think we've reached the end of this edition of Closing Bell. But if you have any comments, leave them on the comment section below on our YouTube feed. We'll take note of it as well. But for now, it's a goodbye from me and Yatin. I'll be back at 8:30 a.m. Tomorrow morning to get you all the lowdown on the global cues as well as market setup in the morning. With that, thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned to Money Control for all your other news and financial updates.